Come quietly or there will be trouble. Your move, creep. Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, look at that. My macro actually unmuted my mic. I love it when shit works. How's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, I think my monitors are low enough. I keep my little stereo in here just sort of playing the background music at a low level just for my own entertainment during the stream and hoping that the mic doesn't pick it up. How's everyone doing tonight? Hope everyone's having a good time. Hope everyone is out there. Chat is curiously empty, but it is a little bit early, and I'm just getting started a little bit early because I have no idea how tonight is going to go. Because, hey, Amiga Gamer, what's going on? I'm dealing with this tonight, and I'm not happy about it. I finally decided to set up another machine on a table downstairs. I pull out all my stuff, and I'm just like, oh, great, what the hell? Hey. Lurky, yeah, Lurky tired. I totally get that. Jeff Minter 64 game, yeah. Yeah. So I won't keep that up here for too long. It is stupendously annoying. I've left it on like that for an hour to see if maybe it was heat related or if my monitor needed a chance to warm up. It is actually unusually cool in here. It's only 22.5 degrees in my room right now. Usually it's, 24 or 25. Doing okay in the middle of making examples. So the ColecoVision BIOS works. Well, object-oriented graphics package stuffed in there. Yikes. Yes, it is, and I'm looking at it right now, going, this is super annoying. But yeah, so at first I thought, oh great, there's a problem with my monitor. Long story short, I tried a couple of combinations, and I actually have 2 of these monitors, and it turns out only one of them does this, and it's this one, and this is my favorite one, unfortunately, because the other one has a little bit of screen damage. But it only seems to do it with the C64, yeah, so it's starting to warm up a little bit now. This is a fluorescent backlit LCD TV, so it has, they call it a cold cathode, and it is anything but cold. It heats up pretty good. So the first thing I actually did, and I'm going to double check this just to make sure everything is good, I grabbed the only other S-video source I had lying around, which is my 3DO. So hey, Texas Boost, what's going on? Ah, you're another one I missed. I tried to update some of my VIPs because I think the VIPs are not subject to the slow chat that I have in my channel. Maybe that's not actually true, but I tried to get people and I forgot you. I'm sorry. I need to add you. All right. Turning on the 3DO. Oh wait, plugging in the S-video. Yeah, that is rock solid. Hey, Lady Alaros. Yeah, that's how I feel when I finally catch one of your streams. Or, I'm not sure I've ever managed to catch one of your Wednesday night streams either. And Petzel, also forgot to add you. Welcome in. But yeah, all right. So this was like, okay, it's not a problem with my S-video port. What the hell? And that's when I tried the other monitor. Everything worked fine. Yes, 3DO. For whatever reason, I decided to get a 3DO. I don't really know why. But I was just like, okay, I guess I'm collecting weird consoles now, semi obscure consoles. But yeah, this is my FZ10 3DO. And it looks really good on S-video, honestly. Oh, that's right. There was one more thing. So the other thing that I had a chance to do before going live tonight was to hook stuff up to my Medusa, because it will tell me some information about the signal. So if I run this over here, this cable's a little bit unwieldy, but all right. Always wanted one. 3DO's on the bucket list. Oh, well, if I decide to get rid of this one, I know who to call. All right, so turn on the 3DO. Hey, Proton, what's going on? All right, and this one is saying 60.0 hertz, right on the nose, 15.7 kilohertz. So, very good video. That's good. This is good to know. unfortunately, I don't have my capture hooked up, so I can't actually like stream this. That was a bad choice. And also, I seem to have gone into some weird video mode. Sorry about that. But yeah, so giving me a nice solid 60 hertz. With that as a reference, yes. Disconnect this. We'll bring the Commodore back. Unfortunately, my other Commodore 64 is PAL, so that won't help me at all diagnose this problem. I suppose I could get the Commodore 128 down, because that's also NTSC. But, alright. Video port back in. This SCART to video cable adapter is a little bit tight on the S-Video jack. All right, this video plugged in. Power on the Commodore. Yeah, I noticed that Mr. Cola was streaming tonight as well. Who else streams on Tuesdays? I originally picked Tuesday because it didn't conflict with any other streams that I like to watch. But it seems to have changed a little bit. Actually, I bet I can get this on there. Hang on just 1 second. Get my video adapters. I was doing something different with my Medusa last time. So I have the VGA output on it. Flip this around to the HDMI. Because the Medusa comes natively with a DVI connector. German Fellows is programming an Altair. Nice. Alright, get the HDMI adapter reconnected. Cable. Stream Deck. This is ridiculous. Alright. It's going to work for us. Maybe. Maybe if I had the HDMI switch in the right input. Yeah, okay. Well, it's decoding the Commodore's output just fine. I'll bring this up. So it's showing my signal as 15.98 kilohertz at 61.1 hertz. So quite a bit different. Wish this would stay up there longer, but it won't. So maybe this Commodore is like just enough out of spec that my monitor hates it, but then like why does the other monitor work? So there we are. Let's try and figure out what to do with this. Just to make sure that everything is still behaving the way it was a minute ago. Let's disconnect this one. I can tell the difference because I have my Osh Park sticker on this one. That's how I know it's my good one, quote unquote. I really like these monitors. They're sort of a portable design where press this guy here and this folds flat, and now you just have a It's even got a little carrying handle on it. Apple II machines do that like every modern LCD. So yeah, well, I mean, this one also handles my Apple II fairly well. Yeah, I really like it. It's great for going to game fests and stuff. That's why I've picked up 2 of them over the years. And I hope one of them's not going out, because that would be sad. Really, my only real complaint with these things is that they don't handle PAL. They'll give you a signal, but the geometry is all screwed up. They'll decode it, but they don't scale it correctly. Just a little speck, yeah. Yeah, the Apple II video is notoriously out of spec. It is really quite terrible. But you know, TVs back then were more forgiving. All right. So hook our inputs in back here. And sure enough, yeah, this one is totally happy. The panel is not quite as good on this one, and it's got a little bit of like pressure damage here. So I'd really rather get the other one going if possible. So yeah, same signal rate, I think. Cool thing about this cable, this is my composite and S-video cable. So if I plug the composite end in here, I can get a look at the signal on the Medusa while I'm viewing it on the air. Yes, I know. Yep, still 61.1 hertz, 15.98 kilohertz. So yeah. I really wish, that's like way out of spec, and I wish I knew for sure if that was supposed to be what was coming out of a 64, or if my 64 is my 64 way out of spec and my other monitor just happens to be dealing with it, or is my monitors no longer as capable as they used to be. Maybe we get the 128 down, because it's the C64 side of a 128 is a real VIC-2. It's the right circuit, and yeah, fan action going on here. It should be representative. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. This is a totally unplanned stream, because it was only a couple hours ago that I realized what was going on, so I'm still troubleshooting it in my head. So yeah, I tested. I mean, it works with my 3DO. Oh yeah, right. Test with the 128. Derp. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. That thing. The thing I'm doing right now. Does my better C64 work? Well, no, because my other C64, the one that's back there on the shelf, that is PAL. And it won't work right with these monitors, because these monitors don't handle PAL correctly. There's desk space. I cleaned up a little bit more of my workbench tonight. This used to be all just like this side over here was just covered in parts from recent DigiKey orders and stuff. So I did a little bit of cleanup. Yes, PAL is better. PAL is absolutely better, and that's why I have my good machine over there with with the PAL VIC-2 and 8580 SID, and I have my 1541 Ultimate 2 plus L for it. It's my demo machine, but I do want to keep an NTSC machine, just like with the Atari. Just like with the Atari, I want to keep an NTSC machine around as well. So to set the output, remember? Yeah, Amigas and also to some extent the Atari ST can output both. There are some, as I understand it, some minor differences in PAL models versus NTSC models. But my understanding is it's pretty minor. All right. Ginormous brick of a power supply plugged in. Right. The video and IEC ports on this thing are reversed from my 64. All right. And same thing, plug the composite into the Medusa. We have a new game. That's exciting. I'd love to take a look at it at some point, but I kind of not right at this exact moment. But yeah, I would love to take a look at it. I think you've told me something about that one. I'm totally spacing on it right now, Proton. Tool called Degrader, outsource options, switches for getting old Amiga games to boot. Yeah, that I think I remember that too. All right. Power on. And of course, it's going to go into 128 mode by default. So, and 59.9 hertz, 15.73 kilohertz. I can get this into 64 mode. Are you sure you want to go into 64 mode? Yes. Now, I think it's still the VIC-2, even in 128 mode at 40 columns. But yeah, this is much closer to spec. So, originally I was thinking there must be something wrong with the monitor. Now I'm thinking that maybe something on the C64 has drifted. All right, since it's probably easier to open the Commodore anyway, I'm actually going to start there. So, all right. Thank you, little 128. I appreciate your service. Over there, I'll put you back in the box in a minute, I swear. Yeah, surgery, exactly. I'm not even sure what the state of this Commodore is internally. So we'll get a little protection sheet to put down here. All right, don't need that blue light staring at me. Yeah. 3 Phillips head screws. I cannot actually remember where I got this C64 because I wanted I've had my 64C for a long time, really long time actually. I think I actually bought it at a flea market as a much younger me and just sort of like played with it as a play computer when I was a kid. And then eventually got it working. But I don't remember where I came up with this bread bin. All right. Keyboard connector removed. There we go. Okay, so the first question is, have I recapped this board? And it kind of looks like I have, because these look like quality capacitors. The kind of quality you don't see in Commodore OEM capacitors, let's be honest. All right, yeah, so this, yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, okay, I bought it from a guy, Sal Colora, that's right, I bought it from Sal, because he put in this Gal PLA. And yeah, these, I don't actually see markings on these capacitors though. But they are 105C, which is not what I would expect the OEM ones to be rated. So I'm thinking that they're original. Also original capacitors in the modulator. But I'm trying to think, the video, alright, so, yeah, oh no, heatsinks on the VIC and the SID. CPU is, where's the CPU? This is a CPU, this is 6510. CPU in these doesn't usually generate too much heat, but the SID and the VIC absolutely will. And let's see, this one also has a real regulator. What type of regulator is this? I really need to keep better records about my machine. Yeah, so this is an upgraded regulator. It's a STL7805CV. So modern 5-volt regulator, modern GAL, modern PLA rather, original SID, original VIC-2, original modulator. Okay, this is the point at which I wish I knew a damn thing about the video on a Commodore 64. This, all right, so what I do know is that this has, there's, in addition to the VIC-2, you need a clock gen. And this does not seem to have the special clock gen chip. This seems to have what I will classify as the shitty clock circuit. So I'm wondering if it's just drifted out of Cal. Any changes required to add the new 7805? No, not at all. So this is, zoom in. This is your 5-volt regulator attached to the heatsink because it does most of the heavy lifting. Most of your power comes off the 5-volt rail on this machine. And then this is the 7812. That is the 12-volt regulator. That's only used for a few things. Like this one, actually, which SID does this have? This might have a 60. This might have a. It's the 8580 and the 6581 SID. So this might actually have a 6581 SID, which will use a rail off the 12-volt line. But no, this is it's the same part, 7805. There is, however, like on my good C64, what I've put in is, here we go. This is my power drawer. Does it need to have the CV suffix? I forget what that designates, but I was told by someone who does this a lot. That is the part, the ST L7805CV or the L7805 or the L78S05CV. The S designating higher current, 2 amps versus an amp and a half. And that ST part is actually no longer being stocked by DigiKey. So on my last order, I just bought 10 of them. Because I tend to change the regulators on everything. So this is my little tube of ST. Let me make sure it's really, yeah, L78S05CV. And they got a pretty good price on them too. They're like $2 a piece now. DigiKey's blowing them out. But I have some others, like well, actually, no, these seem to be even more L78S05CVs. So I have 12 of those, because these are some I got from Console 5. See those there. But all right, so this is what I was actually coming here to get, was these guys. So this is a DC to DC converter. And you can sort of see it doesn't look, it has the same pin out, but it doesn't look anything like a normal 7805. This is a used 7805 that I pulled from something else, LM340T, which is the same thing as 7805. This part right here is actually a switching regulator. So it is like 85–90% efficient versus this thing, which is a linear regulator, which drops voltage by dissipating it as heat. And on a lot of my machines, including my PAL, my demo machine, I have actually replaced this 7805 with a Traco or Recom. Those are the two brands that I use. Like here's the, this is a 5-volt, 2 amp part right here that I think is the Recom. And this, I believe, is the, this is also Recom. So this is, all right, this is a 500 milliamp part, and this is a 2 amp part. That's the size difference in there. So I keep power regulator parts like this on hand because they're super handy. And also, apparently, I have an ESP module in here for some reason. I don't know why. Hey, Ian, what's going on? I was talking about power regulators. What is this? Oh, this is a power fix kit for Party Links. So anyway, 7805s and switching regulators. But yeah, no changes required for either of those. Just unsolder the old part, put the new part in. You're done. You do need to change the heatsink grease. You need to put fresh thermal grease down when you change one of these regulators, though. It's the only thing. So, the question is this thing gone out of sync, or gone? Is this thing just drifted out of spec because of clock gen issues, or is there something else? Hey, what's going on, Adam? Yeah, I'm keeping up with the Commodore. Unfortunately, my Commodore is not keeping up with me. Or more importantly, it's not keeping up with NTSC video signal. For folks who've just tuned in, I'll show you real quick what we're dealing with here. Last time you ordered a 5-volt Traco from DigiKey, it instantly sent you a tube of 10 of them. Nice! That's spectacular. I wish they would send me a tube of them. Those are pricey parts. Like, the linear regulators are like $2. The Traco switching regulators are like, they start at 8 and go up to like 12, depending on current capacity. But okay, so what we got here is this unhappiness. The flux capacitor, yeah. So I actually opened it up to check the capacitors and see if it had been recapped, because I was thinking maybe it was drifting out of spec, because if we go over to the digital capture, why are we not seeing anything? Oh, because it's not plugged in. Idiot. Yeah, so the Medusa decodes it, and it's showing 61.1 hertz, 15.98 kilohertz, almost 16 megahertz. So I've gone from before I started the stream thinking that one of my LCD TVs was acting up to thinking that this C64 has just drifted out of spec. And so my question now is it something in the video circuit, or is it something in the modulator? Because the modulator does not appear to have been serviced. Could try to do that. Anyway, you can stop flashing at me. My biggest question before I dive into this is, what does R27 set? I can take a measurement here. I get in here and measure the current value of this trim pot. 436 ohms. It still measures that. Powered. No. Yeah, it's measuring a dead short right now when it's powered. No surprise there. Anyway, yeah, a schematic right now would be super handy, not gonna lie. Alright, so that does nothing. Well, actually, it changes the frequency slightly. Changes it from 15.978 to 15.982. But not enough to really make a difference. Crystal here, 14.318 megahertz. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Nope. Not going to get a reading on that with my multimeter. Scope. Aerosol freezer. I do not. I could turn some canned air upside down, but I've let this thing run continuously for over an hour, and the problem didn't change with it warming up. What am I doing? Right. Oscilloscope. Check things in the video circuit. Now the bench is going to start to get a little crowded. some cords here. I'm going to dispatch with the Medusa at this point. Something has happened to my Analog Discovery 2, unfortunately, and it's no longer working. So I'm having to use this. I can't use my scope overlay. I am a bit bummed about that. No idea what the hell that issue is. I really actually would like to be able to monitor my C64 while this is going on. Just need another power cable. At one point, I had like all the power cables I thought I was going to need set up at my bench just all the time. And then something has happened. And none of these are the right cable. You'll do. Someone has been very naughty to this cable, but it'll do for now, since there's no real ground on this monitor anyway. The discovery of the device, yes, with a bunch of qualifications. It's I wouldn't expect it to perform well above about 50 megahertz. I wouldn't expect it to perform very well above 25 megahertz. You can sort of make it work with up to 50 if you get the BNC adapter. It's kind of a low sampling rate, and it's expensive, and it's more expensive in my opinion than it should be. I got mine on their Christmas sale for basically half off, so I paid like $200 for an Analog Discovery 2. And that, I would say, is a good deal. So if they do that again this year and put them on sale, yes, it's a great little device. All right, turn off trace 2, trace 1, DC coupling. I want to be at about 500 microseconds for division, maybe. Maybe that might do. Cursors and measure. Down here, measure frequency. All right, let's see what we got here. And video is rolling. You all can see that. And we don't have a whole hell of a lot. Let's try this end of the crystal. Okay. Oh, measure. Come on, measure. Frequency. Oh, you're picking up a 60 hertz. Getting not the slightest bit of a usable signal on this scope as far as the clock. Should be connected to this pin right here. AC coupling here. I can zoom in. That's just noise. That ain't nothing. I probe that part of the crystal, the signal just goes completely away. But the input to the chip is just bouncing around all over the place. I'm not getting anything. Why am I not getting anything? Would you buy a 2-channel 100 megahertz Ragall before you another discovery? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh, this ground connector is terrible. I'm gonna change out my probe. Hang on. Yes, I would buy a real scope before I bought a USB scope. The only reason I bought the Analog Discovery, the only reason I bought this is so that I could use it on my stream with the software overlay rather than pointing a camera at a real oscilloscope. Only reason. So unless you're planning on streaming things, yeah, just get a benchtop scope. You will be much happier with it. Unless you want, you know, a mediocre logic analyzer as well. Okay. This is clearly a better probe. Let's try this again. Alright, this is bouncing around all over the place. Not useful. All sorts of frequencies, 1.4 megahertz, 1.6 megahertz. On a crystal marked 14.318, that doesn't sound right. I just put my hand against the regulator down here, and it's a little warm. All right, I'm absolutely baffled by this frequency measurement here. Ah, okay. Sorry. Operator error. I had the bandwidth limit on my scope. So now I am seeing something that's still very nasty. And it's about a mean frequency of 14.3 megahertz. 14.34 instead of 14.318, but it's really having a lot of trouble getting onto it. Let's see. I wonder if my triggering is all... Yes. Okay. Wow, my triggering is all messed up. No wonder we couldn't sync to anything. So my trigger was set to channel 2. Whatever I was doing with this scope before was very strange, because I left it in a very stupid mode. Okay. I'm an idiot. Now we have something that we can actually start to take a look at. That looks like garbage, but it's reading, bouncing all over the place a little bit. 14.6, 14.2, 14.8. So I'm starting to feel pretty good about my thought that maybe this thing's video clock is just drifted really badly. Yeah. That can't be good. All right. Let's go ahead and take the board out. I want to take a look at these caps. All right, board is in here. A couple of different types of screws. Let me get a screw tray. Actually, I don't think I have to take that out. I think it's just these big guys here. Some of them have washers because I've removed the RF shield. And I think the screw spacings sort of require the extra distance of that RF shield in a couple of places. It's missing some screws too. These screws are various different threads. Yeah, I think this machine is suffering from a case of whatever screws the last guy who worked on it had lying around syndrome. Alright, that should now, yeah. Board is free. Board's free. Still got that ridiculous cardboard in the bottom, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. I think I'll take it out. 100% not required. Alrighty, now let's get our capacitor health meter thing. This is a cool little device that will measure the ESR and capacitance of a capacitor, but it will do it in circuit. It's not incredibly accurate in circuit, but you'll get a reading, and it'll give you some idea about the relative health of the capacitor. So put it on, say, this guy. Open circuit, low capacitance. I must have moved the yeah, so it's saying quarter ohm ESR, 10 microfarads, which is probably what this is. Yeah, 10 microfarads, 60 volts. So that's reading nicely in spec. Not what we would expect from old capacitors. So even though I can't be for sure that these are quality brand capacitors because I can't see the markings on them, they are at least new. Look at this axials here. Oh, 0.9 ohms. 1000 mic. Yep, that looks good. .470, reading 440, that's good. And these are Nichicons, so these have probably also been replaced. 2000, reading 2000 on the 2200, that's fine. Capacitors, bulk capacitors, unless you buy something very specific, they're usually 20%. And it's spec'd as 20% plus minus. I have it on good authority that it is almost always minus. Check the cap at C19. I don't know. Is the cap at C19 something special? Yes, that was the cap at C19 I just measured. And it's looking quite good. Check this capacitor in the video circuit. C not measured. In circuit leaky, 7.8 ohms. Or if I can measure it top side. I'm not sure I'm getting the right contact on the pins here. Okay, that's interesting. 7.9 ohms. Now, I've had them sometimes measure as, show as in-circuit leaky when they're in circuit, because it is in circuit. But it usually gives me a pretty good idea what the ESR is. And like I measured one, I was working on TV, and this thing would measure the ESR at like 8 ohms. And I pull the cap, and it's actually like 10. So I'm a little bit curious why I'm getting such a lousy reading on this capacitor here. Could pull it and see. It's clearly been replaced because I can see flux residue on there. A little bit of flux. C108, this is, can't even read it, it's really tiny. It is a 10 mic, 25 volt, very common capacitor. I can absolutely replace that if it turns out to be bad for whatever reason. Don't really know why it would be bad, since other capacitors in here don't seem to be bad, but you never know. So what do we say? Just go ahead and replace it, or go ahead and pull it, check it out of circuit. Soldering iron cord has gotten tangled up. Everything on my bench. Oscillator, the LS chip at U31. I was trying to get a good idea. Do you know what pin the output of that is supposed to be on, Adam? One of those little peak measures, DREE, to measure caps in circuit, and it's kind of unwieldy. Don't trust it. I've had good results with this peak. It's pricey, but time it saves, I sort of consider it to be worth it. I just set this thing down on the flux. Oh well. Solder sucker. Let's have this thing out. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. I'm gonna change camera angles here so I can try and stay out of the way of it. All right. Whoops. Got just a little bit of a solder joint left on this one. There we go. Let's see what the meter says. Plug our alligators back on. Make sure I get a good connection. Wow, look at that. That's terrible. 7.4 ohms on a 10 mic 25. It's a very small capacitor, and those use a very aggressive electrolyte sometimes. That can lead to a higher ESR, but you know, if it was 1 or 2 ohms, yeah, maybe, but 10 or 7.5, that's nah. Nope, nope, too much. So, yep, 10 mic 25. Shouldn't have any problem placing that. 10 mic 63, 10 mic 25. So, what do I do with it? Right away, bandolier capacitors, exactly. So right away, you can see a huge difference in size between the physical construction of these capacitors. And these ones I'm going to put in they're Panasonic. You know, this one is drastically smaller, and it doesn't need to be, especially since I've removed the lid of this can. So could just be that this is such a small aggressive capacitor that it's just not, it's gone out of spec. But yeah, just being able to put the meter on the thing in circuit and get some idea about whether or not the capacitor is even remotely in spec, absolutely worth it. All right, plop that guy in. Silk screen's marked positive on the board. Capacitor is marked negative with the stripe. All right, and we're dealing with old equipment, so we want to use leaded solder. I will grab here. No, no badges, just badgers. Alright. That looks better. Do I really think this is going to change much? Tough to say. I would not be surprised if this didn't change a thing. But we can find out. Since I unwrap this incredibly way too long cable. Kind of difficult to get everything in the shot, but anyway, you guys get it. You guys get it. You see what's going on. Make sure there's no errant metal parts underneath here to jank up my board. All right. Nope, we're still rolling. Still rolling badly. No change in the signal reporter on the Medusa either. So, yeah. Pin 9 ground, 16 VCC, 8 oscillator ground, 15 oscillator VCC. Okay. So, I guess we should take a look at some of the details, what's going on this oscillator chip. Requires me moving everything back to where I can hook my whole scope up again. What I need is another power strip on this bench on the other side, so I don't have to drag everything across it this way. Pinam and Cruzy. That's my best attempt at that. Welcome in. How you doing? We're looking at a C64 that doesn't like my monitor here.
Check this out. Once more. Once more.
So this is a Commodore 64 NTSC model.
Once more.
Sorry, I'm just trying to rearrange things on my desk so I can run the scope. So we were going to look at pin 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 16 pin chip, so it should be this pin right there.
Once more. Once more.
Which really isn't showing me anything.
Once more. Check this out. Once more. Once more. Check this out. Once more.
'74 LS 629. All right, I'm gonna look this up real quick so I have the full pin out in front of me. Sorry, everybody. Hang tight one sec. Yes. Voltage controlled oscillator. 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Two CX2, 2CX1. All right. So 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. These pins here with the crystal. 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Yep. I mean, I get a 14, something that averages 14.4 megahertz, and the crystal is supposed to be 14.318. But just a truly, truly awful waveform. But let's see. 1C8. All right, so 4 and 5. Four, 5. Could be that this chip is going to give me a better signal out on one of its pins. Ah. There we are. All right, so yeah, this is the output of the chip. Y, and that is showing 8.2 megahertz. I don't know what it's actually supposed to be on a Commodore, but it's showing 8.2 megahertz. Standard deviation down in the double-digit kilohertz, so that's actually fairly stable coming out of this oscillator. Still reading 61.1 hertz on the Medusa. And where's my adjustment screwdriver? Yeah, this changes it still by pretty much exactly what it did before. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped. I don't know that I'm actually fighting a real problem, but it seems pretty far out of spec. 15 point, almost 16 megahertz. And it's supposed to be closer to 15.7 something for NTSC. So what I was adjusting is this trim pot right there, next to the VIC-20, which I think, let me see if I can find something, data sheet for this. Where it would have like an example circuit. Yeah, external capacitor, which I think is what we just changed. Packaging data. 8.18 megahertz. All right, it's kind of close. .2, I think I said. Keep touching that 7805. I think it gets a little toasty. Yeah, 8.2. I don't know how far. I don't know if that's too far off from what the circuits or what the VIC-2 is expecting or not. Do a quick little bit of math here, I suppose. 0.002. 0.98. So it's off. All right, so the output frequency is off by a significantly higher margin, percentage-wise, than this clock is off by. If they were close, I would say, well, you know, this signal's off by X percent, this signal's off by X percent too. I could convince myself that there's causation there. But in this case, I'm not sure I'm ready to make that leap. Next thought in my mind is something in the modulator. And really, I should probably just replace this modulator with a modern modulator replacement that doesn't actually emit the RF, but does generate the composite signal, because the video signal composite generation takes place in the modulator box here. So you do have to have that installed on the Commodore 64 to get the video signal. So perhaps I will just order myself a couple of modern modulator replacements, install them, because it's not a bad thing anyway to have, and see if that makes a difference. Otherwise, I think there is a way to convert this type from this type of voltage controlled oscillator to the other type of clock gen, which was used on earlier model C64s. I think this is a 250407 board, 1983 Commodore. It says 250407 type board. Artwork number 251137. I don't know what the artwork number means. Yeah, the Shuriken. That's one I've heard people recommend pretty well. So I might just go ahead and do that. I wouldn't mind having a modern replacement in for this anyway. I don't mind replacing things like that on my old machines. Just analog video processing. Yeah, right. Hey, Bald Engineer, how's it going? I mean, it's really only, I was trying to think, for the 250407, is it possible to use the 7700 something or other clock generator instead of this voltage controlled oscillator? The core uses its own internal clock, yeah. Sorry, that's what I was saying. I 100% don't mind replacing this bit of analog circuitry with some other equivalent modern analog circuitry, because it's not integral to the actual video processing. Something like a VIC-2 Kawari, though, that's really just emulating a VIC-2, that is where I draw a line for myself, because running on the real VIC-2 is kind of essential for demos. A big old nasty solder blob right there. I feel like taking off. Regret replacing the modulator box in one of mine. Never got the signals compensated well. Well, now you're making me second guess my decision. Mr. Cola coming in with the Xylons. Hang on just a minute. Have you swapped the VIC-2 chip yet? No, I have not. I do not have a spare VIC-2. I sent my spare NTSC VIC-2 to Tim Drew because he wanted an NTSC Commodore. And I was like, well, the best way to do that is for you to just swap one of yours, because he has a million Commodores. I was like, I'll send you the NTSC chip out of one of mine, and you can do the swap. Hey, Mr. Cola, thank you so much for the raid. Cola and all of your koalas coming in with you. Hey, Zypho, how's it going? Retro Hitch, good to see you again. And let's see, Fluxit, love the name, by the way. Welcome in. Thank you for this. Thank you for the follow. How goes the repairs? Well, I mean, I'm sort of trying to figure out what the next step is, because it's still doing this, but only on this monitor. The rest of my stuff has no problems dealing with the signal. Like, let me find, if I run it into my Medusa instead, like, the Medusa is totally happy with this. Did more Atari 400 tonight. Ooh, Rescue on Fractalus. Yes, that is a very cool game. That is a very cool game. The Medusa has no problem. My geometry's off because I have my scene set up for something else. But the Medusa has no problem dealing with this video signal. It's just like, yeah, it's out of spec, but fine. Supposed to be working on the night shift. Well, welcome to the night shift, Zypho. Good to see you. Well, so like I have another one of these monitors, the same model here, that it will work with. But this is my favorite of the two because it has a little bit less. The other one has a little bit of panel damage. So when I was setting up tonight, I was thinking, okay, maybe there's a problem with this monitor. But when I hooked up to my Medusa, I'm looking at the signal and I was like, 15.979 kilohertz. It's supposed to be 15.7 something. That ain't right. And showing a vertical frequency of 61.1 hertz. That ain't right. So I'm sort of thinking to myself, well, I wonder if this C64 has something on the C64 has gone out of spec. Yeah, it totally is, Mr. Cola. It totally is. Keeping these things working with modern hardware, or even semi-modern hardware, is a pain in the butt. Yeah, one sec. Yeah, that AV to HDMI is a fairly lousy piece of kit, not gonna lie. And it could be that this is... So, alright, so actually earlier in the stream, we brought out the Commodore 128 and looked at that. That should have the same VIC-2 sort of setup, like real VIC-2 video when it's in C64 mode. And it was dead on, 15.7 kilohertz, 60 hertz vertical. So, that sort of led me down this path of, alright, I wonder if this C64 has something on it has drifted out of spec. So we checked at a few things. We replaced a capacitor that was clearly out of spec. I didn't expect it to do anything. It didn't do anything. These caps are okay. I haven't actually checked power rails, which should be one of the first things that I check. Lucky with the Elgato NTSC capture. You could have also just gotten lucky with your C64, right? Because these things are... As Bald Engineer was saying earlier, it's, you know, Commodore put whatever parts they had in their warehouse that week in these things. They're not exactly high quality machines. We get dinner, go the nephew to bed. All right. Well, thank you for the raid. Thank you so much for coming in with the 20 Xylons. I hope you had a good stream. Sounded like you did. And if I'm still around a little bit, if you're still around a little bit, I'll see you in a bit. There. Do you have another 64 to test with that monitor? I don't have another 64 because my other 64 is PAL. But I tested it, like I said, with the 128. And the 128 is fine. No problems. Sorry, I'm just testing voltage rails here. 5.088. So that's a good solid 5 volts. And on the oscillator as well, 5.063. So our 5 volts is quite happy. I wonder if this thing can read the frequency coming out of the oscillator. Yeah, 8 point. So this my multimeter is measuring it 8.18 megahertz, dead on. So that's interesting. So yeah, I don't know what's causing this 61 hertz vertical refresh rate. It's got to be that my monitor is pissed off about. All right, might have to think about this. The waveform on the scope we did look at, but I don't really know what I'm looking for, to be honest. Made my C64 very unhappy there for a second. That's what it looks like, which ain't great, but it ain't terrible either. It's showing a 1/4 megahertz standard deviation, although that's settling down a little bit over time. And sorry, measuring. Let me get the peak to peak. Oh, come on, don't do this to me. We're 6 volts peak to peak. So with that ringing on the bottom and the garbage on the top, that doesn't surprise me. Freeze that there. But yeah, it's a mystery. Yeah, the ring doesn't bother me either. I mean, it's a clock. For Commodore, that's a pretty good clock, let's be honest. Really, the thing that's really confusing me now is that the Medusa is reading it at 61 hertz and almost 16 megahertz, or 16 kilohertz rather than the 15.7. Don't know why that is. I don't know if that's even has anything to do with the VIC-2 part of the circuit, or if it's something in the modulator. Or if this is just what I have to deal with as a Commodore owner. And I need to see if I can figure out why one of my monitors here why one of these monitors will sync to the signal and the other one won't. Everything else seems to look good on the board. Right, yes. Yeah, exactly. Just no signal at all. Yeah, someone was asking me about a digital. They're putting in a digital security system, a camera, IP camera thing, and they're like, "This video looks really bad, but I'm on Cat 5e. Would upgrading to Cat 6 cable help?" I'm like, "Nope." All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and put this back in. Once again, can leave the cardboard out. I don't know though, like, does that make it that much more authentic? Proper Commodore part number on the piece of cardboard. It's going to ruin the resale value if I take it out. This screw has seen better days, that's for darn sure. Actually, so has this other one. It's splitting fairly badly. Might want to take a moment and repair that. Yeah, I'm kidding around. Commodore Chronicles. See if I can do a repair on this real quick. Other ones look more or less okay. So for this one, I'm going to try a thing. So we've got a little split in it. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll try and get the camera in as close as I can. Hey, RetroSwim, what's going on? Good morning to you. All right, I'm going to get my pliers here. So what I'm going to do is heat up the plastic a little bit with my heat gun, and then should be able to squeeze this back together to get that crack to sort of reform itself, and then glue it with styrene glue. The trick is not to overheat the plastic and damage it. So I'm going to set my hot air station to about 250, and unfortunately this is Fahrenheit, so. Heat it up a little bit. It likes to really overshoot. I've got to get it soft enough to where I can get it to actually close. Yeah, trick is not to damage the plastic. Getting there. Alright. Definitely soft enough at this point. Alright. Now we can apply just a little bit of this styrene glue. Hold it together here for a second. Whoops. Does heat add anything? So I just put the styrene glue on now. The heat was just to get it so I could reform it enough into a circle, because at that point I can use the styrene glue. Hey Squire, how's it going? Enjoy the lurk. Just gonna hold this here for a second and let the because what this glue basically does is it dissolves the plastic, melts it, and then as the glue evaporates, the plastic sort of reforms and just glues itself to, just welds itself to itself. So it's a very strong bond if you do it right. If this doesn't work, the other trick is just cut these off and glue down some replacement mounting pads. There's people, you can 3D print them. There's people that sell them. All right, I think that actually may have gone pretty well. Yeah, figures you would have some of those replacements there, Bald Engineer. Being the Commodore fan that you are. So yeah, styrene glue. More intact cases than functional logic boards. That is not surprising. All right. Yeah, that doesn't actually get tight enough. So with the RF shield removed, these screws don't actually tighten down on the board fully. So you need a little washer on there. I gotta see if I have any more. My stash of small washers is rather small. Here's a couple. Yeah, this washer is a little too large, but well, it is going to cross this. It's going to cross that trace. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on the trace if I can avoid it. Let me try this smaller washer here. I need to get some plastic washers. Maybe I'll get some from Lowe's tomorrow or something. Alright, there we go. Yeah, because a bunch of my screws, when I took this thing off, I'd already added small metal washers. And like here, there's nothing but ground plane to hit, so it's not a big deal. And then we have screws like this that are completely the wrong thread. I don't know what those were doing in there. I can use a big washer over here. Doesn't matter because, again, there's nothing but ground plane in the way. Okay, so I've got that one, which I just repaired, that I don't have a screw for because I'm not putting this weird screw in there. And then that one's actually broken. Sorry, y'all can't see. This post down here is very broken. But I just need one more screw to go there. So let me see if I have such a thing in one of my random screw drawers. My screw drawers are very poorly organized. And I tend to have plastic and metal thread screws mixed into the same drawer, which makes life annoying to find the right screw that you're looking for. Yeah, those are definitely the wrong size. I'm not expecting to come up with anything here. These are probably the right type of screw, but probably too long. Let's see. Where did it go? Nope, that is not the right. That's too wide. Compare it to one of these guys. No, actually, it might be right. Just way too long. And then you probably can't see much. But the threads do seem to line up. But yeah, I don't have the right screw for that one. So I will go track one down later. Because I do want to put one in here because when you're installing anything in the user port, it'd be nice to have this part of the board reinforced. Alright, well... keyboard, power light connector, and then closing this case can be a little bit tricky sometimes. There's these fingers back here that basically need to go on the inside into the little slots in the case. And you just sort of lever it down. And they sort of snap into place in a way that I can only describe as nerve-wracking. Because it makes you feel like you're about to break the damn thing. Yes, those tabs, grr. That is exactly the response of anyone who's ever worked on a C64. Yeah, alright, see? That one finally snapped into place. Yeah, just when you get used to that terrible snapping sound is when you find your first broken one. Yep. And there are replacements for those too. You basically have to cut the old tab off and epoxy on a new one. People have gotten very good at fixing all the annoying things about Commodores. Except for the brown. They can't seem to fix that terrible color palette. But oh well. Blue tape also works. Just tape the case back together. Yeah, alright. So, obviously, no change. Didn't expect anything else. Whoops. My camera's all wonky. Oh well. Yeah, right. It's really weird because my other monitor seems to work fine with it. I'm like, I wonder how hard it would be to like combine the best parts of both of these monitors, right? I can dispense with the scope here. My pawn shop digital scope. I wonder how hard it is to get into this thing. Do you know this demo, Commodore Chronicles? Yeah, I think the demo is Sexadelic by Byte Rapers. Very unfortunate name. It's a good tune. I've been gradually pruning my collection of tunes that I use for my background music to remove ones that are either audibly or in other ways offensive to the ears or to the senses. Criminally demo deficient. Well, you should fix that. You should change that. I mean, you got to know about Commodore demos at least, right? And there's also a couple of screws here in the front underneath that. I wonder if I have to take the front bezel off as a preliminary step. Most common ones? I'm not like an encyclopedia of it either. But I do enjoy me some Commodore demos, that's for sure. A very awkward angle to be doing this, sorry. Alright, actually, it looks like a couple of these screws I've removed may go through to the front. Or maybe not. Okay. These parts are sorta starting to separate. But still not having a ton of comfort about being able to open this thing quite yet. Debating the NTSC RetroTink 2X Pro, the GBSC AV. Yeah, I'm sort of curious about that GBSC, the one that does video. That couple, I noticed that a little while ago. Haven't pulled the trigger on getting one yet. OSSC, no, just no. Unless you really want to tweak the ever-loving out of your video signal. Everybody I've heard about who deals with the OSSC is just like, no, it's a nightmare to get anything looking right. RetroTink 2X Pro is a great device. You don't get a lot for the price though. It is definitely the pricey option. All right, this case is now free mostly. I just gotta figure out what's holding it on up here at the top. $90 ain't bad. No, $90 is not bad. Not in the slightest little bit for a quality retro video scaler. Nope. That is chump change compared to the amount of money that I've spent on everything that I use. Ridiculous. What we pay to just put these things on a modern TV. All right. Just pry in the right spot, apparently. The answer. Okay. Yes, that seems to have been an intact removal. All right. Outer shield. Let me take a picture of this before I disassemble too many parts of it. So in a hurry. A lot of screws on this shielding. I'm not even sure that's the shielding. These are all the same. Yeah, these appear to all be the same. Yeah, very hands-on experience. That's a very good way of putting it, RetroSwim. It's not a device I would ever recommend to anybody unless there was a very specific need for it. These are just speaker connectors down here. Yeah, that's the problem. The only devices that do composite, in addition to all the other fun stuff, are the RetroTink. So, at the end, it just kind of comes down to, why don't you just buy a RetroTink? Ah, look at all those capacitors. The AVS video breakout, for the OSSC, well, what most people use is it's actually a transcoder. And you can use it with any device that accepts component, because it transcodes the composite to component. But yeah, the GBSC seems to have the transcoder built in. So, now I'm just thinking, wonder what happens if I just swap this board with the controller board from my other monitor. And maybe, I can have the better panel with the board that handles the Commodore and just be like, that's fine, I'm done with this, at least for the time being. Because it wasn't too hard to get to this point. Use one for most of my retro capture, but only because when I bought it, anything else, I like to have a 5X, just can't justify the cost. Yeah, I bought 2 of the RetroTink minis when they came out, because Mike made it pretty clear that this was likely to be a limited time product, and I bought one, really liked it, and so I just turned around and bought another one right away, if nothing else, to have a spare. And then I went and I bought the RetroTink 5X as well, when I got my Amiga. This is just a control board, but still very flimsy wires here. Okay, there we go. All right, and LVDS. There's my little prying tool. This'll do. And this is the backlight power supply. Right. Unfortunately, now is the point where I have to disassemble the other monitor in exactly the same fashion to get to the board. So I think that might be a tomorrow project because it's getting late and I'm out of bench space. I'm basically going to have to clear a space on a different bench to be able to get that thing disassembled. Maybe I can do it downstairs. So all right, I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks to everyone for all your advice and your company. Your support, I appreciate it. Makes it fun to do this sort of stuff, hanging out with y'all. Let's see. I'm over to the Twitch console. What do we got going? Let's see. Oh, Coffee Cup Arcade. It looks like probably, yeah. They're streaming some SIDS. We're dealing with the Commodore anyway, so we may as well head on over there. Yeah, exactly. We'll head on over to Coffee Cup. Oh, you're welcome, Petzel. Retro Swim, Texas Foos, Commodore Chronicles, Ball Engineer, Lady Alaros, Proton. I don't know if you're still kicking around in there. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I know I'm forgetting so many names. It's a fun stream tonight. Hope y'all enjoyed the shenanigans. Still don't really know what's going on with stuff, but, you know, whatever. Let's see. All right. Start this going. So, have a good night, everyone. Stay safe out there. Have a good week. Probably streaming next week. I don't think I have anything getting in my way, but if not, you know, play some retro for me. Have fun.